You're listening to an Airwave Media podcast.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Say goodbye to your credit card rewards. Greedy corporate mega stores, led by Walmart and Target, are pushing for a law in Congress to take away your hard-earned cash back and travel points to line their pockets. The Durbin-Marshall credit card bill would enact harmful credit card routing mandates that would end credit card rewards as we know it. If you love your credit card rewards, tell your lawmakers, hands off my rewards. Tell them to oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neal, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. I'm here with Ken and Matt. How are you, Matt?
I'm good. I've forgotten how to do this. It's been so long.
I know it's been 2 months or 84 years, as the old woman in Titanic says, but
They
you're back.
They locked me in the back of the conglomerate for the last 2 months, but I'm out, and I have 1 day to do this.
And
You're smelling a little bit of caramel, though.
Yeah. Well,
And pumpkin
yeah.
spice.
They occasionally waft it towards you, and it just seeps in after a
As
while.
a former conglomerate worker, Matt, is it caramel or caramel?
It's a caramel latte with extra caramel. It's actually both. People don't
Oh,
know
no.
that. People
Okay,
forget. That's the problem.
This is horrible.
We had to solve that problem just for the listeners.
Yeah.
But have you created any new spices while you were in there?
I learned about ice spice, but that's it, unfortunately.
Okay. I think that might be with a different conglomerate with that deal.
Is
So
Ice
That is
Spice
true.
the rejected Spice Girl? Or
I think it's Ben Affleck's friend, right? Is that how the
Ben Affleck's
Oh.
good friend. Yeah, that's right.
good friend Ice Spice?
Jeff isn't here, unfortunately. He went on a fishing trip, and unfortunately, he's not going to find any compliments in the bottom of the lake. But hopefully, he'll be okay. And Ken, you're doing okay?
I'm fine.
Awesome. Well, you're fine.
Still fine.
We're really excited.
What do you
actually.
want from me?
What's that song? What do you want from me? Oh, Adam Lambert. I don't know why I thought of that just now from American Idol. Anyway, we're super excited because we have some great guests today, and one of them we'll introduce right away because we have exciting news. If you haven't been checking out our social channels, but Oakland 5 supporter on Patreon, friend of the show, DJ, musician,
Radio
podcaster, radio
personality.
personality. As I keep saying it, and I'm
Show
going to
booker.
Queen of Chicago, as I'm going to will it into existence. Jill Hopkins, how are you, Jill?
Hello, don't give me that job. I've told you before, that sounds exhausting. It's way too much work.
It is a lot, but if it could be like the Queen of England, and hopefully we can get you like a Range Rover that you can just drive around in all day, that'd be kind of nice.
It's corgis and handbags, corgis and handbags.
Can your next decree be that they fix all the potholes? Would that be?
Listen, that would be rule number 1. 1.5 would be that they decorate them nicely with mosaics like that one guy does.
Yeah,
It's probably more feasible just to put a decorative outline around them instead, because as soon as you fill them, there'll be a new one replacing it right away.
Jill, you've been on the show before, and we always love having you. Do you want to remind everyone at home what you're up to in Chicago?
Sure. I am the civic events director at Metro and G-Man and Smart Bar, this great family of venues in Wrigleyville in Chicago. We're just down, we're in between a cemetery and Wrigley Field, so use that metaphor for what you will as a sports fan. But we've got some really great stuff going on at the clubs these days, including some great shows with you guys. And I mean, you guys, like everything that y'all are doing, we're doing at G-Man.
Yay.
I'm super stoked about it.
We're super excited about it. So if you've seen our socials, you'll know that we're going to be doing a big Triviality live event on November 12th, which is a Sunday. It's going to be a live taping of our 350th episode, which is pretty crazy that we've reached that mark. But it's going to be from 6 to 9, and doors will open at 5. And there's going to be some mini games, a live taping of the episode. Obviously, you can play by yourself in a team up to 4. We're going to be using the Triv Now app. So if you happen to be at SporkleCon, the guys did a Triv Now version of the game. Same thing that's going to happen here at the live event. We'll have some prizes. Jill will be DJing a little bit. And it's basically just going to be a raucous good time. Anything else you can add to that, Jill, to help sell anyone who's either local or maybe wants to drive in or fly in for the event?
We're going to have some drink specials. If you've never met the guys, this is your chance. They're real. You can see them with your actual eyeballs. Take in their essences.
Ogle us, please.
Yeah.
Find our Horcruxes.
Yeah. Objectify them in a respectful way. It's just going to be a really nice. It's just going to be a nice evening, and it's I'm still just in awe that my job is to get people back together to do social things. Like we're still coming out of our hidey holes a little bit, and this is a great reason to come out and meet some people.
Exactly. And hey, boss, can I do my little?
I was gonna give you a segue there, but take it.
Thanks, boss.
Yeah.
That Friday, prior the 10th of November, my band Rocket Minor will be playing G-Man as well, with the bands Underhand and Coyote Man, and that's gonna be a raucous good time as well. So, show up for both.
Yeah. Is Coyote Man like a werewolf? Turns into a coyote?
Coyote Man is a amazing instrumental band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, definitely. If you can come in early, check out Ken's band on Friday night. Stay over Saturday. Go see the sights in Chicago. Maybe do an architecture tour or something. Go see some other music if you need to, or maybe go check out some blues and jazz. And then Sunday, come to our show and see our 350th taping. And Matt is going to be there as well. So if you think he's still a robot, that will be put to rest.
Our show is going to be so loud that we're going to tell the rest of Wrigleyville is going to be like, guys, turn it down a little bit.
Yep. And we're going to have a bigger crowd than the Cubs, surely, if you come. So just be ready for that.
In November, I can guarantee that.
Yes. But yeah, thank you, Jill, for helping us put that together. We're excited to join you for that big event, and we're going to keep talking about it more and more. So please, stay up on our socials and whatnot. If you have any questions, email us. Our next guest used to live in Chicago, so either he'll be there in spirit at the event, or maybe he'll come in, depending on what he's got going on. But I know he met the fellas at SporkleCon in D.C.
Just a little pressure there.
Yep, a little pressure. He's an Oakland 5 supporter on Patreon from Newport News, Virginia. Dave Scanland, how are you, Dave?
Hey guys, that would be an excellent excuse to fly in and visit my mom, who always wants me to come in, and I'm kind of like, it's so much of a flight and a drive, but if you guys are there, I can drag her out. I think that's a great idea.
There you go. We love that. So you were telling us a little bit about yourself before we recorded, but let's make it public. So what do you want to tell the folks at home about yourself?
Yeah, so as you said, I am from the Chicagoland area. So I'm from originally Crete, class of '03 for Crete Moni, home of Laquan Treadwell.
So actually, we were in high school at the exact same time. Our senior years, we played each other. We didn't play, but we were in the stands.
True. I mean, I was a 4-sport athlete in high school, and student body president, and basically just all around, math team, Scholastic Bowl type nerd. So that got me a trip out to the Air Force Academy for a few years. Graduated out of there in 2007, and then I've just been kind of on a whirlwind tour of the U.S. Since that. I do data science, I do machine learning and modeling and simulation for the Air Force. So I was up in the Pentagon for about 5 years, and then they moved me kind of peak of COVID down to Langley, which is down in Hampton Roads. That's how I got here to Newport News. And shout out to all my guys over in ACC, A9A. A lot of my lieutenants and captains love play testing and love just playing trivia with me. And, they see me kind of as like, wow, how do you know all this crap? And I'm like, hopefully I know some stuff that's good enough to use for the job. But
Well, we appreciate you taking the time, and thank you for all that you do. I don't understand any of what that means, but I'm glad it's in your hands and that you can handle it for us.
Sure, we help buy stuff for the Air Force, or actually request it. So then when Congress yells at us that it's too much money, we can say, hey, but we did the analysis on it. And that's basically our role.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, Dave's got a great game for us today. Our teams are going to be Jill and Matt versus me and Neal. And since we're going to have a G-Man weekend, let's have some G-Man team names. So, Jill, what did you guys come up with?
We decided that we were going to be the G-Mandalorian.
Okay, G-Mandalorian. And
This is the game.
Since Scott Pilgrim is getting rebooted on Netflix, we'll be G-Man Gideon Graves.
Who played G-Man Gideon Graves?
Jason Schwartzman.
Jason Schwartzman. Okay, right.
All right. Well, let's get the rules and find out how the game is played.
The rules of the game are simple. 20 questions split into 2 rounds worth 10 points apiece. At halftime, there'll be a special swing round designed by this week's host. After regulation, players will enter the final round with the points that they've accumulated and will have a chance to wager 0 to 30 points on 5 categorized questions. At the end of the game, someone will be named the cream of the crop.
I'm unjustifiably in a position that I would rather not be in. But the cream will rise all the way to the top.
We have the rules, so Dave, you want to take it away and we'll play.
Awesome, yeah. So recently on Thursday, I hosted some of these questions at Capstan Brewery down here. I'm one of their fill-in hosts for trivia. We had about 15 teams, so it's nice to be in a room with only a couple people. But yeah, so I'm a pretty creative dude, always thinking about the future, always thinking about time. Whenever we do analysis for the Air Force, we have to go out to 2030, 2035, 2040. So I decided, hey, let's do a game all about years. So for this first round, each category and each question is going to correlate to a decade. And I started off nice and clean and easy with the 1900s, so the decade of the 1900s. I'm going to have a category title as well that could or could not give you a little boost or a little clue, and then I will read the questions.
All right, let's rock.
All right, so question number 1, it's the 1900s, or the decade of the 1900s. The category title is Show Me the Yen. And the question is, the Battle of Tsushima was the final major battle of the Russo-Japanese War on 27 to 28 May 1905, and resulted in a massive loss for the Imperial Russian Navy as their fleet was much older and slower than Japan's. Greatly aiding the Japanese, it was the first battle to feature the use of which technological development in warfare, the initial instance using the Type 36 from a boat to the mainland.
I think I have an idea, Matt. What are you thinking about?
I think that if you think you have a good idea, I think that we can lock in with that answer.
All right, so they're locked in. I was thinking either submarines or radar.
Technological development from a boat to the mainland.
Since it's from the boat to the mainland, that's what I wanted. I was thinking maybe radar for that, like they were transmitting.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because I don't think it'll be torpedo or gun on the ship or whatever. Yeah, we could go radar if you want.
Okay.
I like to think that it's Neal thinks it's some kind of submarine Gatling gun, but I don't know if that's what he's implying there. What did you lock in with?
I did think maybe it was torpedo.
Okay.
Just like a
to the mainland.
For the folks at home, there's finger guns and
now when you put it like that, Jill, it does make more sense.
I mean, that's technologically sound.
All right, Dave, what do we got?
All right, so I wanted to give you guys a clue here with the category title, so it's a little bit of a stretch, but show me the yen, show me the money. Cuba Gooding Jr. He played radio.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I thought that you were locking in with radio. I'm like, Jill knows it's radio. She's on the radio. But no, that's okay. We'll get the next one.
Yeah.
That's
so the full answer here is wireless telegraphy by radio, but I would have accepted radio by itself.
So it was the first major battle to use Cuba Gooding Jr. as a weapon, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Later to be used in the Pearl Harbor attack.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
The Battle of Snow Dogs, I believe, is after that.
All right, question number 2. We are moving right along to the 1910s. Our category title is We Are Made of Sea Stuff. All right, in 1916, Stuart Patton wrote and directed the first film adaptation of Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. This was the first film to be shot underwater, although it didn't directly place cameras underwater, but used a system of tubes and mirrors in shallow water. Which motion picture studio, the oldest in the United States, used this film as the start of over a century of special effects advancements?
All right, we thought about 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and we have a guess for the studio.
Okay, so they're locked in. So what were you thinking on this one initially?
For the oldest ones, I'm always thinking about like MGM. Are they still a studio? Maybe Warner Brothers, Columbia,
We got.
something like that.
I think my guess is I think it's Universal. I think that they've definitely been out west a long time, and I've been to Universal Studios in California, and it was super fun. And that's the reason why I want to answer Universal based on nothing else. But I do think it's Universal Studios.
I'm here for it. I do not have a better guess than that.
All right, we're locked in.
I hope you said Universal, because We're Made of Sea Stuff is a Universal sort of reference.
Yeah, so we put down Paramount, we put down MGM. I don't think Paramount is that old. I don't think MGM is as old as that. But yeah, we just said Universal because we couldn't put Stuart Patton in the right league, but in the right league. Yeah, pun intended.
Awesome, yeah. So you guys both picked this one up, picked up the category as well. So when my wife and I got married, we got married at a Civil War fort up in D.C. and, basically picked all the cool sayings. We're just like, hey, let's throw in a bunch of stuff. And we use Carl Sagan, we're made of space stuff, or star stuff, excuse me. I'm screwing up my own wedding vows there. As one of our wedding quotes there. So yeah, Carl Sagan and the cosmos and universe and all that stuff. Universal. Very
Sweet.
good pick up there.
Was that the tagline to The Shape of Water, Ken?
We're made of sea stuff?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about sea stuff.
I really see some stuff in that movie.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
It is the Lord's Day, you guys. We can't talk about that.
Awesome. So question number 3. We're going to go to the flapping days of the 20s here. And with those flappers, our category is Frozen in History. And in Frozen in History, our question is, Art Deco was huge in the 1920s, seen in almost all forms of architecture, consumer products, and vehicles, but it was not yet called that. While the full term Arts Décoratifs was first used in France in 1858, the abbreviation Art Deco was not widely used as a cultural phrase until over 100 years later to describe the 1920s motif. Which worldwide fashion and beauty magazine with over 100 million unique web visitors per month ran an essay named Les Art Deco in 1967, cementing this term in place in history?
I mean, looking at me through the screen, you can tell I'm the epitome of fashion and style.
You have your team behind you, so.
I think paired with the clue, Frozen in History, it could be Vogue magazine.
Oh, that makes sense. I thought this question was going to be about Walt Disney's head, but it's not, which is okay. I like Vogue. It's a good answer, and I know that it's still a popular magazine, so we can lock in with Vogue.
Yep, Neal's striking a pose here in the studio, so we're saying Vogue as well.
Yeah, I kind of threw you guys off a little bit there. I'm sorry. So L is Frozen in History. So answer is going to be L here.
Oh,
like Frozen, yeah, like the kids love, yeah.
Like the kids love.
Oh my gosh, that's what we
Yeah,
get
like
for not
Elsa,
having
right?
kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Awesome. So question number 4. We have the 1930s, and our category is If You Can't Beat Them, Join Them. All right, Uruguay hosted and won the 1930 World Cup, partially due to the field only having 13 teams due to the Great Depression. Featuring 7 British-born players, which team lost to Argentina in the semifinals but secured third place over Yugoslavia due to point differential? this secured their, as to yet, best showing ever in a World Cup?
So me and Neil are huge fans of 1930s international soccer, and we're going to lock in.
All right. So they're locked in. So we're looking for an international team. It's probably not English, with 7 British-born players losing to Argentina in the semis, and they haven't been very good since. That's a lot of information,
That is.
but I don't know.
I
I don't even know what area of the of the world. Are we looking South America, Europe?
I don't know. I don't know why my heart says Australia. I
Mm,
don't know why.
that is a really good guess. They're notoriously not good at soccer, and they would have 7 British-born players. That would make sense. Um, so I'm good. Let's lock in with Australia.
Sure.
Well, back in those days, they used to play soccer with an inflated hog stomach. No, I'm just making stuff up. We said USA because we suck. At
There you
men's
go.
soccer, that is. Men's soccer, we suck. Women are pretty amazing, even though they lost
Yeah,
this year.
that part.
Correct. Nice. Yeah, if you can't beat
Wow.
them, join them. Hey,
Oh, come on.
U.S. is Revolutionary War and 2 World War champion, so British joined us for the first iteration of the World Cup, along with, only 12 other teams, because most of Europe was like, that's way too expensive, and I'm not going on a boat. So screw that.
I do love clues that are, once you hear the answer, you feel stupid for not knowing the answer immediately.
Did the British-born players insist on calling it football while they were? I wonder.
Most likely. And you know where soccer comes from, the term, right? The etymology.
Is it the Soccer Association
Yeah.
football?
There you
Yeah.
go. So like
So originally it was called
association.
soccer, but yeah, Socceration.
Cool. Yep. Good pickup on that one, guys. All right. Our question number 5. We're going to hop along to the 1940s. So category title is Unlocking Air Power. The National Security Act of 1947, signed by President Truman, established the United States Air Force as an independent service, separating it from the Army and pissing off the Navy, who didn't want to lose their air assets. In 1948, the first U.S. Secretary of Defense, James V. Forrestal, drafted a policy paper that divided those air assets across the services, which was titled after the place where the service chiefs agreed on it. Also known as the Conch Republic and home to the Truman Little White House, the presidential winter retreat. Where did this agreement happen?
Well, I don't know.
Oh,
You might know. That was the sound of somebody who might know something.
okay. Stay with me here.
Okay, I got nowhere to go.
One time I got terribly seasick off the back of a catamaran on a snorkeling trip after eating terrible conch fritters in Key West, Florida.
Mm.
So I'm gonna, and there's conch freaking everywhere there. They're like on the street signs and everything. So I'm
Mhm. That would be
thinking
a good place to put a winter retreat. So
would be.
I could see that might be the spot of the Truman Little White House. Yeah, we can lock in with Key West.
We said Hawaii.
Nope.
Good place to be sick.
Jill.
If you
Jill
gotta be
was
sick
over
somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Jill was all over this, like bad conch. Nailed it. Unlocking air power. How do you unlock air power? With a key from Key West.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, the key to today's game has been teamwork and trying to figure out these clues. And both teams are at 20, so we're tied. And I think we figured out the key to the game is making sure we listen to the clues in the beginning. So hopefully we'll
No, I
get
hear
higher
them.
scores.
I'm just not doing anything with them.
Yeah.
All right, question number 6. We're going right along to the 1950s. So basically, all of our millennial parents era here. And our category is going to be Don't Be So Basic. And here is your question. In 1957, IBM developed the first high-level programming language for scientific and engineering applications, which is still very relevant today in high-performance computing. What is the name of this language, whose name is a portmanteau, which describes why it's so useful for computational tasks, and is written in all caps, since early IBM computers did not support lowercase letters?
So they're locked in. Do you do a little computer programming on the side as well as your other jobs, or is this something you're not too familiar with?
I mean, I feel like I took computer classes in high school because
Mm-hmm.
they
They
made
made
you.
you, yeah.
Um,
they
and
they assumed
then
we didn't know anything about computers, right?
I didn't. I
Mhm.
think I'm quite a bit older than you guys. Well, maybe not quite a bit, but we didn't have, you know,
No, I
any
had
of
a
it.
Mac that I played Oregon Trail on. We were high technology in grade school and middle school. So the ones that I know, you got your C++, your Javas, and then that's the end of the list. It's 2.
Isn't the category is don't be basic. I thought basic. I
Basic
guess the
is
most basic thing I can think of is binary code. It's just ones and zeros. But I
okay.
don't know if that count. Is that a programming language?
It
I don't know.
it is how they program things. I don't know if it's in all caps, but um, I got nothing better.
But yeah, I got nothing better than that. But yeah, I guess that's as good as we're gonna get here.
Yep. So we're gonna lock in with binary.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we think maybe Matt encounters some basic people at the conglomerate, so we said Java.
So basic here, basic comes from this language. If you picked up, it's so useful for computational tasks. It's because it translates formulas, and that would be Fortran. Fortran.
Oh.
Speaking of computers and stuff, what Joe was talking about, I remember being in computer class and they would put wooden boxes over our hands to learn how to type without looking at our hands. And I was like, no one's ever going to need this, in the future. And of course, we all need to type now at some point. So
That sounds like the test they give the kid in Dune.
All right, grooving right along to question 7 and the 1960s. Your category is Brothers in Arms. Which musical group holds the record for the most top 100 Billboard singles by a duo with 35, and was among the first 10 artists inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1986? The duo decided to take somewhat of a hiatus during their musical career by enlisting in the U.S. Marine Corps Reserve in 1961, but performed on The Ed Sullivan Show on February 18, 1962, performing Jezebel and Crying in the Rain while wearing their Marine Corps uniforms.
all right, we think we figured out the category. It might have helped us a little bit on this one for the first time, so we're going to lock in.
Give me that category again.
Brothers in Arms.
Okay.
So they're really brothers.
Mm-hmm. This couldn't.
Or they're just black.
Or they're black.
What about the Isley brothers? It could be both.
So there's 2 of them. Were there 2 Righteous Brothers? Did they have 35 hits?
I honestly, 1960s music is definitely a little outside of my wheelhouse, because my first thought was Captain and Tennille. Definitely not right. So, the Righteous Brothers sounds good.
I mean, 35 is a lot of songs, but I also feel like everybody was just throwing singles out like by the handful back then.
Yeah, there was, you couldn't just put it on Spotify. They had to actually press it, so it's a little different.
It was only about 4 or 5 artists at the time too. So when they caught on, they really caught on. So
I think, yeah, I feel like I can see this Ed Sullivan performance, and like the Marine uniform is very evocative.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm gonna say the Righteous Brothers.
sounds good.
I was between the Righteous Brothers and the Everly Brothers, and I didn't know anything. I didn't know if the Righteous Brothers were in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I vaguely remember the Everly Brothers being, even though I don't really know their songs. So we said the Everly Brothers.
There you go. Good pull. Excellent. Yep, Brothers in Arms. Really useful hint there, I think. And yeah, I think with Jezebel and Crying in the Rain, that's not really their main song, so might have been easier if I threw in one of their top songs. But
It would not be for me. I wouldn't know. Don't know any Everlys.
Gotcha. Well, good poll over there by the guys in the studio.
Nice job.
And now we're on to the 1970s. So I hope you enjoyed those 70 years going by in about 46 minutes. Your category for the 1970s is going to be Buddha playing workout tapes by Fonda. And your question: which book, written in 1974 by Robert Pirsig, is a fictional autobiography about a road trip that takes him and his son Chris from Minnesota to California? Although it was originally rejected 151 times from publishing houses, it is now one of the highest-selling philosophy books of all time, selling over 5 million copies and translated into 27 languages.
We're going to lock in on this one.
Oh, you guys know this one.
We've read a thing. Well, I haven't. Sounds like Neal has, though.
I see it in the studio almost monthly, and I'll tell you why a little bit later.
Fascinating. Jill, do you have any inroads on this one?
I'm thinking about the clue.
Mm-hmm.
It's Buddha and playing workout tapes by Fonda. And if I continue that lyric, it's Fonda ain't got a motorcycle, or ain't got a motor in the back of her Honda, and then motor gets me to motorcycles, and it's Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. Bill Jackson's favorite book.
I believe that is correct, and I bet that's why Neal knows this one. But yeah, that sounds great.
Yep. If you are a patron and you do the Loot Crate from Jeff, often he will share Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance with patrons, and that's what we locked in with.
Yeah, I really like Jill parsing that out. That was perfect. Excellent job. Yeah, you are spot on. And it's funny because, so when I graduated from the academy, they give you 60 days to just like go out in the world and do whatever you want.
Rumspringer?
Yeah, basically. And so I went down to Costa Rica.
But they give you a plane.
Yeah. And I saved sea turtles on Playa Ostianal down there in the Guanacaste province. And so there's this guy who's on Discord a lot, Albert. He play tested this. He has a rocks glass that has a quote from there. And he's actually from Costa Rica. So I was like, wow, I read this book in Costa Rica while I was down there. And now it's all coming together. Pretty crazy.
All the listeners are getting 10 minutes of their life back because Jeff's not here to go on and on about this book. You're welcome.
No, there's a video by CGP Grey.
Yeah, good pulls, everyone. Really nice. All right, so here comes my birth decade, and I think a lot of everyone else here, maybe.
No, it's not Jill, yes.
So our category for the 1980s is Oiling My Peach. And your question...
I think that was in Call Me By Your Name, right?
That's what I call it.
Yeah.
The Lord's Day!
It's okay. This goes out on a Tuesday.
All right, so your question for Oiling My Peach is, when Shigeru Miyamoto, the creative genius behind countless Nintendo video games, first settled on an idea to create a game based on a love triangle between a gorilla, a carpenter, and a woman, he took inspiration and actually tried to acquire the rights to which cartoon series? This cartoon, created by Elzie Chrysler Seeger, first appeared in his comic strip Thimble Theater in 1929.
We can lock in.
So we're talking about the original cartoon that Donkey Kong was supposed to be. And I'm trying to remember what it was going to be. I think it was like, was it Popeye?
Oh, Popeye would make sense because you'd have Popeye, Olive Oil, and then the gorilla would be the mean guy that always like hits on her.
Yeah.
Or he looks like a gorilla.
Was it Popeye?
I don't know. Elzie Chrysler, Bob Seeger. I don't know who created Popeye. That's the thing. So maybe it is.
We've had this one like 100, 200 episodes ago or something like that.
I'm glad you remember. I don't.
Popeye?
I mean, if that's what your gut says, it's got to be right because that's such a random answer, right?
All right. I forgot to eat my spinach this morning, so let's go Popeye.
Yeah, I think originally you were supposed if you jumped, you can grab spinach cans and then you'd be able to punch the barrels. I think that's how it was originally supposed to go, but it's 100% Popeye.
Yeah, taking its name or taking so the food Popeye, the chicken actually didn't get its name from Popeye. It got its name from Popeye O'Doyle from French Connection. So the great Gene Hackman. Throw that.
Is that
in
true?
There. Yep.
That's wild. Wow.
Very wild.
Popeye's chicken trivia is f***ing awesome.
That's why every time I get Popeye's chicken, I go into some sort of car race and almost hit a baby. So.
Yeah, and if you picked up on the category oiling my peach, we went from olive oil to Princess Peach.
Nice.
Just a quick aside, I find it very fascinating that I go to different small towns and there's olive oil shops. Like, I don't know who buys that much olive oil. It kind of creeps me out, but good for them.
I put it on my skin. I'm Greek, so...
Is that the secret?
It must be. Yeah, that's why he looks so young.
Exactly.
My goodness.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
a
get your olive oil changed.
20-year Air Force veteran, I look like a 10-year-old. No.
What's Scanland doing over there? Oh, he's dousing himself in olive oil again.
Just like flash dance. It just comes out.
That's amazing. All right, so question number 10. We've made ourselves through the century here, and 1990s is going to be your 10th question. Category is genocide is wrong, but peace is the opposite. In November 1995, the peace accords that ended civil war and genocide in Bosnia-Herzegovina were signed at the Air Force Base that is home to the National Air and Space Intelligence Center, the Air Force Institute of Technology, and Hangar 18, which is purportedly the storage site of a crashed Roswell UFO. What is the name of these accords, which share the name of the Midwestern city that is next to this Air Force Base, and that is a place in the history of aviation?
All right. It seems like we both have absolutely zero idea here, and we're just naming Midwestern cities. And we're not going to go with Chicago, even though that would be the game theory here. Let's travel south a little bit to the land of race cars and steakhouses and go Indianapolis. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, we're just not even gonna bother with the Midwest thing, and we're just gonna say Kitty Hawk.
Yeah, you're really close, but where did the guys who went to Kitty Hawk come from?
I don't know.
They lived in Dayton. They were bicycle salesmen and owned a bicycle shop in Dayton, Ohio, which is right next to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. So genocide is wrong, but peace is right. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio. And I feel like you guys just think like Ohio is probably just a black hole. So I don't blame you guys for missing that and kind of skipping all the way over to North Carolina. But
famous Midwestern state, North Carolina.
Exactly. Right.
Peace may be right, but not a ton of right answers in this game so far. But we have
about it's like 50%.
Well, 50%. Yeah,
That's
so
pretty good. That's perfect.
I think it's pretty good. Yeah. So G-Mandelorian with 40 points, and G-Man Gideon Graves with 50 points. So close game.
Yeah, for the half Wright brothers. Is that how this works?
The Half Right Brothers, or the Queen Latifah Common Vehicle Just Right, which is just a remake of the Wright Brothers story, but told in romantic comedy form. If you were listening to that first half of the game and you didn't hear that we have a huge event coming up in Chicago on November 12th, this is just a reminder because it's made possible in part due to our patrons. And speaking of our patrons, if you are a patron who either wants to travel to Chicago or lives in Chicagoland area and you'd like a free ticket to this event, if you are the first 5 patrons to message us on Patreon, a direct message, we will give you a free ticket to the event. So make sure to do that. And if you want more information, you can go to gmantavern.com, Jill, and look up events.
Yep. And if you're already in the city and you just have an affinity for live music or anything, poke around in there. We've got something for you, I promise.
Awesome. Well, and speaking of patrons, if you'd like to join all of them, including our 2 guests today, you can go to patreon.com/Triviality Podcast. Dave, what do we have in store for the swing round today?
Yeah, so going along with the same theme of years, each question of the swing round will feature a year that is the title of a book, film, or song. So basically, I'll give you a book, film, or song that's a year. I'll give you a prompt with a question, and then you simply answer that question.
Got it.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome. So your swing round. Question number 1, literature. Author of the pop fiction books 1491, New Revelations of the Americas Before Columbus, published in 2005, and 1493, Uncovering the New World Columbus Created, published in 2011. Question 2, literature. The author of 1776, The True Story of George Washington Leading His Troops in the American Revolutionary War. Question number 3, movies. The director of 1917, the war film released in 2019, known for its single-shot cinematography. Question number 4, movies. The director of 1941, Mickey Rourke's film debut about the hilarity of post-Pearl Harbor panic in Los Angeles, also starring John Belushi. Question number 5, music. The artists who released December 1963, Oh What a Night, about their keyboard player Bob Guadio's courtship of his wife Judy. Question number 6, movies. The actor who portrayed Mr. Ollivander in the Harry Potter series, who also portrayed Winston in the 1984 version of 1984. Question number 7, music. The singer who released a song version of the book 1984 and 1974 on the album Diamond Dogs that was supposed to be for a stage musical, but was blocked by Orwell's widow. Question number 8, music. The band who originally recorded 1985 and 2004 about a woman yearning for yesteryear before Bowling for Soup re-released it the same year.
No.
Question number 9, music. The Canadian prog rock band who released the album and song 2112 that became their second highest selling after Moving Pictures. And question
A
number
Canadian
10.
prog rock band. Let's
Slow
let me
down.
think- Let me think about.
Question number 10, literature. The author of the book 3001, which is 4th in its series.
All right, we have our questions. We'll be right back after these messages.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become? Senwa Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Say goodbye to your credit card rewards. Greedy corporate mega stores, led by Walmart and Target, are pushing for a law in Congress to take away your hard-earned cash back and travel points to line their pockets. The Durbin-Marshall credit card bill would enact harmful credit card routing mandates that would end credit card rewards as we know it. If you love your credit card rewards, tell your lawmakers, hands off my rewards. Tell them to oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill.
And we are back. We have our answers. Let's toss it back over to Dave to get the questions one more time, and we'll see how we did.
Sure thing. Question number 1 was literature. Author of the pop fiction books 1491, New Revelations of the Americas Before Columbus, published in 2005, and 1493, Uncovering the New World Columbus Created, published in 2011.
We weren't sure what pop fiction was. We just guessed Chomsky.
Oh, that's a good guess because we didn't have anything. Norm's, I don't know. I got nothing. No names.
Yeah, and I consider anything talking about Columbus to be fiction, so sorry if that threw you off, but that's Charles C. Mann. Question number 2, literature. The author of 1776, The True Story of George Washington Leading His Troops in the American Revolutionary War.
So I know Bill O'Reilly kind of also dabbles as a author of historical stuff. So we said we would do it live. Yeah, in quotes. We said we would do it live, and we said Bill O'Reilly.
I'm glad that Bill O'Reilly never enters my mind at any point during any day.
You are.
So if you're right, I'm fine with being wrong. I said the same dude that wrote the book about Hamilton, Ron Chernow.
Yeah, so this is actually David McCullough, who wrote The Path Between the Seas, Truman, and John Adams. So he was a Pulitzer Prize winner twice, 1982 National Book Award winner for, not sure actually, and Presidential Medal of Freedom.
So you're saying I had to invoke Bill O'Reilly's name for no reason?
Yeah, don't say it 3 times in the mirror.
I wouldn't.
All right, question number 3, movies. Going into Neal territory here. The director of 1917, the war film released in 2019, known for its single-shot cinematography.
Just for the record, I knew all the movie questions too. I'm just saying. Neil gets all the credit for the movie stuff, but go ahead.
Can
Take
I
it,
read
Neil.
your book?
We know what the people want.
Yeah. We said the director of Jarhead, Sam Mendes.
Director of Jarhead, his most famous film.
That's where I knew him from too. Yeah, we said Sam Mendes.
Yeah, not to be confused with the singer. It is Sam Mendes.
They look similar.
Question number 4, movies. The director of 1941, Mickey Rourke's film debut about the hilarity of post-Pearl Harbor panic in Los Angeles, also starring John Belushi.
Well, I informed Neil this is the Swedish filmmaker Spielberg.
Oh, I love his meatballs. Yeah, we said Steven Spielberg as well.
Excellent pulls. Very nice job. All right, question 5, music. The artists who released December 1963, Oh What a Night, about their keyboard player Bob Guadio's courtship of his wife Judy.
We thought this answer was just too good to be true. We said Frankie Valli.
We also said Frankie Valli.
There you go, Frankie Valli, 4 seasons. All of them get the pot. Good work. Question 6, movies. The actor who portrayed Mr. Ollivander in the Harry Potter series, who also portrayed Winston in the 1984 version of 1984.
Yeah, this answer seemed to just pop right out of me, and we said John Hurt.
We also said John Hurt.
Yep, the Elephant Man himself, David Lynch's favorite actor of all time. That is John Hurt. Question 7, music. The singer who released a song version of the book 1984 and 1974 on the album Diamond Dogs that was supposed to be for a stage musical but was blocked by Orwell's widow.
This one we didn't know. We just went with the Diamond theme and said Neil Diamond got blocked to do a musical.
We went with Ziggy Stardust, David Bowie.
David Bowie himself. Yes, good job there. Question number 8, music. The band who originally recorded 1985 and 2004 about a woman yearning for yesteryear before the great Rock and Roll Hall of Fame one day, Bowling for Soup, re-released it in the same year.
Yeah, we think this is SR-71.
We said SR-71 too. Not TOO.
There you go. All children of Air Force veterans, and that's why they came up with the name SR-71 after the X-Men's aircraft. They're the Blackbird, so you are correct, SR-71. Question 9, music. The Canadian prog rock band that released the album and song 2112 that became their second highest selling after Moving Pictures.
It's got to be King Crimson. No, just kidding. We're saying Rush.
Oh, Alex Lifeson, right? Or
Alex Lifeson.
Oh, good. Got I remembered.
We also said Rush.
Yeah, I was hoping that you guys didn't rush to answer that one. It was Rush. Good work. And question 10, literature. The author of the book 3001, which is 4th in its series.
Pretty sure the author of 2001 Space Odyssey was Arthur C. Clarke. So we said Clarke.
We said Clarke as well.
Yeah, and kind of an interesting thing about 2001 A Space Odyssey, the book didn't exist prior to the movie. It actually correlated with Stanley Kubrick creating the screenplay, working directly with Arthur C. Clarke. So there was no 2001 until that movie was released, and then Clarke went on to do 3 more books, including 3001.
our scores after the swing round. It looks like G-Mandalorian is going to pick up 40 points, bringing their total to 80. And G-Man Gideon Graves picking up 35 points, holding a very slight lead at 85.
Cool. All right. So for round 2, we're going to take our little UFO/time machine out of Wright-Patterson and fly right into 2014. So all of these are going to correlate with a year starting 2014 all the way up to today. So question 1, 2014, category title is Not Too Happy Together. Question is, Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 disappeared while en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing on March 8, 2014. In July 2015, the first item of debris to be positively identified as originating from Flight 370, the right flaperon, was discovered on a beach of which French Indian Ocean island. The island's name features a l'accent aigu and is the French for meeting, but not necessarily after a set number of years.
We can lock in. I have a guess.
So we're looking for a French word.
We.
I think, well, my first thought was reunion. It is, I believe it's an island. I saw a documentary about this pop up on Netflix and I never watched it. But what do you think about reunion?
I think so. Where would the little accent go? Over the E? The I?
I
the
mean,
O?
it's a roving accent. I think it depends on wherever you feel like it goes. Is how it works. But I think especially with the clue at the end about not necessarily after a set number of years, because we can have a reunion at our show on November 12th in Chicago, where you can get tickets right now. So we can lock in with reunion.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, so just for my French knowledge, l'accent aigu is the little accent over the E, and I believe it's le réunion, so we said reunion.
That is correct. So I just got back from the Seychelles back in April, and then my wife and I flew out to LA. So my wife was on Jeopardy. So we had this whirlwind kind of post-honeymoon trip. We got married in 2019, but it took us 4 years with me having 2 deployments and COVID and all that to actually go out to Seychelles. And Seychelles is one of the closest islands to Réunion. So
nice.
Great pull
nice.
and all that.
Ooh,
and the category Not Too Happy Together, it's not too happy to be reunited with a right flaperon of a missing aircraft.
Sure.
And congratulations.
Thanks. Appreciate that. All right. So question number 2. We're going to 2015. Category title is I Don't Give One. The film Bridge of Spies was listed on the AFI's list of top 10 films of 2015. It focuses on the exchange of a CIA U-2 pilot that was shot down over the Soviet Union in 1960 with a convicted KGB spy. The name of the film refers to the Glynaki Bridge, where the prisoner exchange took place. Which 2 present-day cities does this bridge connect? One of the cities was the site of a famous meeting between Harry Truman, Joseph Stalin, Winston Churchill, and Clement Attlee post-World War II.
We can lock in.
All right, so we've been discussing cities and bridges, and we have gotten absolutely nowhere. So I think we're going to say Oakland and San Francisco. The Golden Gate Bridge takes them all the way over. It's a great bridge. We're just locked in with basically nothing.
Okay. Neal, this was the beginning of the Mark Renaissance.
That's right, the Mark Renaissance. Oscar winner for this film, underrated little gem of a movie. The film deals with East Berlin, West Berlin. So Berlin is one of them, and just from reading about the movie, I'm pretty sure the other city, modern day city, is Potsdam. So we said Berlin and Potsdam.
Yes, sir. That's correct. Good pull. So Potsdam Conference category. I don't give a Potsdam. So Glynaki Bridge. Didn't say it in the German as my wife would say it, but no, that's an excellent pull there. yeah, all those. Actually, when I was at the Pentagon, so I worked at the Pentagon for like 5 years, right? And so every single day, walking up to my office, you go up these ramps, and on the second ramp on the right, there's all these pictures of the Potsdam conference between all four of those guys. So if you ever get a chance to check out the Pentagon, it's like a living museum. Now it's the second largest office building in the world because a diamond mining office in India took its place this year.
Wow.
So
You can go into the Pentagon just as a normal person?
you used to be able to go in pre 2001, of course, but now you can either contact someone at the Pentagon if you know a person working there, or you can contact your senator, congressperson, excuse me.
And they'll get back to you super fast.
Yeah, so 2025, 2029.
Matt will
Who
be in
knows?
touch to get a tour of the Pentagon, Dave.
Yeah, once you live here, you can just go out whenever you want. It's true.
True. Oh yeah, you're in DC. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Awesome. All right. So question number 3, and I knew this was going to be an all Chicago affair here, so hopefully this helps you out. Category title is Plucking Feathers, and in 2016, of course, biggest moment of my life. So question is going to be, other than my wedding, of course, right? The Chicago Cubs finally won a World Series in 2016, coming back to eclipse the then Cleveland Indians in 7 games after trailing 3-1 in the series. Serving as the Cubs' ace, which bearded starting pitcher snaked his way into becoming the first National League starting pitcher to win 2 road games in a single World Series since Bob Gibson in 1967, when the Cubs beat the Indians 9-3 in Game 6.
All right, I think we're locked in, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I blanking on this?
This is shocking, Matt.
I know.
I don't like this
shocking.
version of Matt that we're seeing right now.
Yeah. Oh, it's I think this is Arietta. Jake, the snake, possibly. I'm trying. I think I was thinking too much, but he's definitely bearded. I believe Ken dressed up as him one year for Halloween. That's possible.
Yeah.
I can see it.
When my
Yeah.
beard was a little larger than it is today. Yeah, and so Jake Arrieta was getting moved, but he didn't have a home yet, so I did a homeless Jake Arrieta like he wasn't a millionaire already. So
Yeah, so we locked in with that.
same.
Yep, awesome, of course. And then obviously the Game 7 was when everyone in Chicago almost had a heart attack with Aroldis Chapman giving up that home run to Rajay Davis. But luckily, the exploits of Jason Hayward and Ben Zobrist bailed us out.
And a
we
rain
had our
delay.
first World Series in 108 years, so that was amazing. Cool. All right, number 4. Question number 4, 2017. Category is By George. I think he's got it. Your question. The Great American Eclipse happened on August 21st, 2017, becoming the first total solar eclipse to span the whole U.S. since June 8th, 1918, and not since February 1979 had there been even a total solar eclipse visible in the mainland U.S. What term, sounding similar to a Hungarian-American billionaire, is used for the 18-year period after an eclipse where the sun, Earth, and Moon all return to the same geometry, resulting in another eclipse?
All right, so there's a word that I've heard on this podcast a couple times, and I think it might be what you're describing, so we're going to lock in.
What? How many Hungarian American billionaires do you know?
Just the one, and he won't return my calls.
Oh, that's sad.
I think it's George Soros.
Okay.
Is the guy. By George is the clue.
Right.
So
it sounds like
what's the
that.
word? Yeah, that's where I'm getting stuck here. Cirrus? That feels like
Okay.
a Greek something. I
Yeah.
don't know.
A George Cirrus. No, or just Cirrus. We can just say Cirrus.
I don't know how to spell it. I don't know if it's with an S or a C.
All
Well,
right.
if it's right, well, it's whatever we said.
Don't worry,
that's
we're
right, we
wrong.
don't have to
We're
write
wrong
it.
also. So we just didn't think about it that much, and we said syzygy. Which is
No,
also my safe word.
So syzygy is when there's three like planetary objects that go right next to each other, right back, back to back to back kind of thing. Yeah, I want to give this to Jill and Matt there, and
I
yeah,
want to take it.
Close
So-
enough. It's Saros. It's Saros. Yeah. So you guys picked up on all those clues. Awesome. All right. So question 5, 2018. Your category title is Change is Good. The renowned theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking passed away on Pi Day in 2018 at 76. For 30 years, he served as the Lucasian Chair of Mathematics at the University of Cambridge, one of the most prestigious academic posts in the world. He is not the longest-serving person in that post, however. Sir George Stokes served for 54 years and made seminal contributions to fluid mechanics, including devising Stokes' theorem, which states the following. The line integral of a vector field over a loop is equal to the blank of its curl through the enclosed surface. What 4-letter term fills this blank?
Just want to give Dave props for including the phrase seminal contributions to fluid mechanics. All right. Well, Neal, I think the man who would love this question is not here today. So let's just go ahead and lock in quickly and be done with it.
Go with me.
I'm pulling this out of thin air,
Mm-hmm.
Matt. Just thinking about a good sciencey word for like change,
Mhm.
because I'm all about the clues in these things.
Yeah.
And 4 letters, and it's like the scienciest word I can think of because of my favorite scientist, Doc Brown. Flux.
The flux of its curl.
Which is what I tell my stylist.
Yeah.
I would like
During a
just a little flux curl.
Should we go with flux?
We could go with flux. I was thinking potentially axis, because the
Ooh.
curl would go around the axis point with the
Sure,
line
man.
and
Sure.
curl.
Sure.
Yeah, axis.
We're just going to say size, but your guys' conversation sounded pretty good. I also thought maybe rate, but we're saying size.
All right, so Stokes' theorem states the following. The line integral of a vector field over a loop is equal to the flux of its curl
Come
through the
on.
enclosed surface. So Doc Brown would have saved you there. Matt,
Well,
change is good. And
change was not
you can
good there.
change on an axis, I guess, but yeah.
Change was bad. We had the right answer.
Well, thanks to that terrible
The
turn of
terrible
events
man
by Matt.
The terrible man who ruined the answer.
Yeah, they would have had the lead there with that question, but unfortunately, G-Mandalorian is only picking up 30 points, bringing their total to 110. G-Man Gideon Graves picking up 30 points as well, bringing their total to 115.
Awesome. So on to the last year before Chaos, 2019. Your category is Getting on Track. Here's your question. The House impeached President Trump in December of 2019, making him the 3rd president to be bestowed with that dubious honor. The first, Andrew Johnson, was impeached due to violating which act, sounding like something that teachers earn, when he acted to remove Edwin Stanton from office as Secretary of War. The act was a federal law in force only from 1867 to 1887 and denied the president the ability to remove any executive without the explicit approval of the Senate.
Well, they're locked in. What do teachers earn besides not enough money?
Ooh, tenure. They get on a tenure track.
Okay. Oh yeah, that makes sense. So you think it's maybe it's like the 10-year act, or just tenure?
Don't overthink it, man.
No, I know. Now I'm afraid to say anything.
I say the tenure act. That sounds great.
Okay.
We said the same.
Yeah, points all around here. So it's actually the tenure of office Act, but Tenure Act, really good. And of course, Tenure Act, the radical Republicans were kind of out for Andrew Johnson, who promised, 40 acres and a mule. And where are the 40 acres? Where are the mules?
Where's my mule?
Exactly, right?
I have 0 acres, 0 mules. Who do I write?
So we can kind of thank the radical Republicans back then, who are now more of the Democrats, obviously. Changing course somewhere in the late 1900s to become the Democrats that we need to know today. All right. Question 7 is 2020. Chairman of the board is your category. The one good thing to come out of 2020 is the ability to work from home more effectively. Who is the CEO and founder of Zoom Video Communications, whose last name is the same name as the currency of the country he was born in, which is currently worth 0.137 of a US dollar? In the language of its country, spoken by over 500 million, it literally means round object or round coin. And the last name here is fine.
You think you know it?
I do.
Okay. We can lock in 100% because I don't.
So, Neal, we know the chairman of the board is who?
Carrot Top or Frank Sinatra, depending on which thing you like.
However, that's not really getting us anywhere. I'm sure we'll be enlightened. But we're thinking maybe it's ruble because the amount of speakers seems about correct and the conversion rate to US dollars seems about correct. So we're going to say ruble.
If I am correct here, the founder of Zoom is an Asian fella. I think he's a Chinese fella. And I think his last name is Yuan. So we went with Yuan.
That's correct. So
All right.
So the yuan is broken down into maos, which are then broken down into fens. So the chairman of the board, going with Mao Zedong there. Chairman of the board he's the CEO.
You can't give us Carrot Top bait, all right? It'll just throw us right off.
Some bowling for soup and Carrot Top bait all mixed together. Yeah. If you put carrots in your bowl of soup, maybe you get this answer.
Yeah, if you called pest control for Triviality, they would just lay out some bowling for soup and Carrot Top, and we would come scattering out.
No carrots if you're Al Michaels, though, who does not eat vegetables, is what we learned.
Well, way to take the lead, guys. Let's move on to question 8.
All right, question 8. Year is 2021. Your category is Daggone It. At the Tokyo 2020 Summer Olympics, Laurel Hubbard made history when she became the first transgender woman athlete to compete. Unfortunately, she failed to complete any of her 3 tries at which specific event, placing her in last place for her class. The class was eventually medaled by Lee Wenwen, Emily Campbell, and Sarah Robles. This event shares its name with a 2000 Guy Ritchie film featuring the character One Punch Mickey O'Neil, as played by Brad Pitt.
Well, I don't know the movie, but I do know that she was a weightlifter.
I do know the movie, and if you can help me understand what it means in sports terms, then I think we might. So the movie is Snatch.
Oh, yeah. So Snatch, the snatch and grab, I think, is the...
Is it
Yeah, they gotta pick it up and get it to their chest within a certain amount of time, and then they can drop it or something like that.
That sounds hard.
It's just I think I guess because
I think it's just the event.
Yeah.
So
just say
it
the name
shares
of the
its
movie.
name.
You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Snatch.
Yeah.
Weightlifting snatch.
Yeah, we said snatch also.
Yeah, you snatch that run right up, and if you aren't familiar with that movie and you want to see Brad Pitt mispronounce the word dog a million times, you can just
Dag.
Yeah, dag. Or maybe he's pronouncing it right and we're all wrong. But yeah, definitely Snatch is correct. And then Clean and Jerk, to go back to the seminal viscous flux stuff that we were saying before. Clean and Jerk was the second in that class. So it was like the 87 kilogram class. they give the gold medal for both the snatch and the clean and jerk. You can make up jokes at home.
We won't. We'll
but-
move on.
I'm
from
not
here.
gonna. I'm not touching
moving
that
on.
one.
Question 9, 2022. Almost up to today, folks. Category is Oakley Dokley, said Fred. And your question. In 2022, it was announced that the longest running drama series and soap opera in Australia's history would be cancelled. The show's finale was broadcast in a 90-minute episode on July 28th on Network 10 and 10 Peach. However, in November, Amazon Freevee and Fremantle picked up the show, allowing it to start over this year on September 18th. What is the name of this show, which shares its name with a film that won Zac Efron an MTV Movie Award for Best Shirtless Performance?
I think this show is on since like the 50s or 60s. I think. I believe it's called Neighbors.
Yeah, I was. You know what? That was on the tip of my tongue too. Let's go.
I think it's
with
that
it.
movie where Zac Efron is either a good or bad neighbor. I can't remember.
Oh, and Fred Oakley Dokley said Fred Rogers, the best neighbor anyone could ever have.
Ned Flanders.
And Ned Flanders, also a neighbor.
Two bad neighbors.
Well, we like to thank this show for birthing, not literally, but birthing Margot Robbie. So we said Neighbors.
Yeah, you guys parsed all of it. Oakley Dokley, of course, your favorite Homer neighbor, Ned Flanders, and Fred Rogers. If they sang "I'm Too Sexy" together, that would give you some bad visuals. But let's get it. Let's do it. Let's have that happen. All right, and then we are here. We made it all the way to present day. No more time machine needed. It's 2023 for question 10. Category is Kanan. I get a what? All right. So question is, this year in January, Prince Harry's tell-all memoir, Spare, broke the record for the fastest-selling nonfiction book of all time, selling 1.4 million copies in one day, and breaking the record of which book that was released in 2020. Despite the title, this book was not, in fact, about the area where the Egyptian, Hittite, Mitanni, and Assyrian empires converged.
Jill's pretty sure that she knows this or has it on her bookshelf somewhere, so we are locked in.
Not a big reader of nonfiction there, Neil.
Mm-hmm.
The area where all those empires converged kind of reminds me of like Mesopotamia or the Fertile Crescent or something like that. Do you have any ideas?
I don't either. Yeah, I'm not sure what that would be called. I'm just thinking of nonfiction books that were really popular, and if it's 2020...
And Canaan, what is it? Canaan get a what?
Canaan get a what? Which is a Jay-Z reference, but I don't know. Well, Jay-Z... yeah, I don't really know what that's doing for me.
We'll just say the book is called The Fertile Crescent.
They said The Fertile Crescent. We think that this is a Barack Obama book, correct?
Yes. I was wondering if it was a Michelle or a Barack, but I think it's a Barack.
Mm-hmm.
And I think The Promised Land is what we would call that place.
So we're locked in with The Promised Land.
Yep, it is Barack Obama's Promised Land. So Canaan called the Promised Land throughout the Bible, and Jay-Z is Hova, as in Jehovah. So converging there.
Well, after Matt snatched away Jill's answer for Flux, Jill got a little angry and batted perfect in the second half of the second round. So the team of G-Mandelorians picking up 50 points, giving them the lead with 160. And unfortunately, G-Man Gideon Graves only picking up 30 points. We're at 145. So the lead changed going into the final round. And it's anyone's game at this point. It's probably G-Mandelorian's game, but we'll see. What are those categories?
All right, your categories for the final round. We're going into the future now. So starting in 2024, and then we're going to go visit our Chinese friends again. So Year of the Dragon, Year of the Snake, Year of the Horse, Year of the Goat, and Year of the Monkey.
The wagers are locked in. Looks like G-Man Gideon Graves going 15s all the way down. G-Mandalorian going 20s all the way down. So we'll see who this favors.
All right, question 1, Year of the Dragon. Through the end of the 2022 baseball season, the Dayton Dragons had a streak of 1,441 sellout games, far surpassing the number of games in the 1977 to 1995 sellout streak for which West Coast NBA franchise. This NBA team's only championship came in 1977, featuring University of Dayton's Johnny David, along with a UCLA alum Hall of Famer with a sweet ginger beard. Year of the Snake. There are many colorful nicknames when rolling a 2 in craps, including 11 in a shoe store, 2 bad boys from Illinois, aces in both places, and of course, Snake Eyes, a nickname for one of the other 2 numbers that you could roll to lose your pass line bet on the come out roll is which transportation container term, getting its name from the fact that the spots on the dice look like a schematic drawing of the container. Unsure if Gertrude Chandler Warner ever played craps. All right, Year of the Horse. Sounding like 3 classes of body heat regulation, what are the 3 groupings of horse types and breeds that are delineated by horses bred for equestrian sport like Holsteiners, horses that are bred for work like Clydesdales, and light saddle horses like thoroughbreds bred for racing? And I'll give you points if you get 2 out of 3. According to hippologists, this term comes more from a class conflict between the bourgeoisie and the aristocracy versus anything actually scientific. Year of the Goats. The HBO film Rebound, The Legend of Earl the Goat Manigault, is about a street basketball player who is widely considered one of the first people to be bestowed with the nickname the Goat, and one of the most marvelous basketball players of all time to not play in the NBA. Which actor and activist, who is one of the few black actors to be nominated for an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony, played the role of Earl Manigault? And Year of the Monkey. Besides humans, what type of primate is the only free-living species that is found in Europe? There is a large population of them living at the Rock of Gibraltar, and their name, consisting of 2 words with the second ending in 2 vowels, is a reference to the Berber people of North Africa and the Portuguese term for monkey.
We now have our questions. We're going to think about these answers, and we'll be right back. And we are back with our answers. Time to find out who will be today's cream of the crop.
All right. And again, we had 5 questions from the future. So again, going back to the flux capacitor and Doc Brown, these questions are all dedicated to him. Thank you for your service, sir. With that, we had the Year of the Dragon. The Year of the Dragon. So through the end of the 22 baseball season, Dayton Dragons had 1,441 sellout games. Who did they beat? Which West Coast NBA franchise did they beat that had a dude with a sweet ginger beard?
For 15 points again.
Yeah, thank you for the sweet gingerbeard clue. It's what led us there. We thought of Bill Walton, who played for the Trailblazers. We said Portland Trailblazers.
Yep, but we wagered 20, and we agree is the Portland Trailblazers.
Yep, good pull on that one. It is definitely the Portland Trailblazers, and Dame is obviously no longer with them. So.
Yeah, it might be a few more years. Might want to tack that on.
A few more years. All right, question number 2 was the Year of the Snake, my wife's favorite animal. Not really. But so there's so many colorful nicknames, including 2 bad boys from Illinois, and of course Snake Eyes.
It's also mine and Neal's
craps.
nickname is 2 bad boys from Illinois.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
A nickname for one of the other 2 numbers that you could roll to lose your pass line bet on the come out roll is a part of transportation. And unsure if Gertrude Chandler Warner ever played craps and got one of these rolls.
All right. Well, one of the come out rolls that you can lose on is 12. So that would be 6 and 6. And we said boxcars.
We also said boxcars.
Yep. Well done. Gertrude Chandler Warner is the author of the Boxcar Children. So hopefully that was an in for some people as well. All right, question number 3, year of the horse. And this sounded like a little bit of a toughie here. Sounding like 3 classes of body heat regulation. What are the 3 groupings of horse types? According to hippologists, the term actually comes from nothing scientific, nothing biologic, but just a class conflict.
All right, so we thought hard about this, and we mostly went based off of body heat regulation, and we said sweating is one of the ways you can regulate body heat, so we said sweat. And the other one we said was draft, because I believe draft horses are another name for like workhorses.
We had no idea, so we stuck with the class warfare aspect and said the working class, the coastal elites, and the impoverished. I don't know. They're all horses.
You would have to check with the band Foreigner for the answer to this one, which is hot-blooded, cold-blooded, and warm-blooded.
Huh.
So a little bit of a tough one, a little bit of a niche, hippologist niche question there. So. All right, question number 4, year of the goat. The HBO film Rebound, The Legend of Earl the Goat Manigault, is about the original goat. So Common has a song about him. Which actor and activist, who's one of the nominated first few black actors to be nominated for the EGOT, played the role of Earl?
We think this is Don Cheadle. That was our guess.
Yeah, we said friend in my head, Don Cheadle.
Yep, the Golden Girl / Golden Palace alum there. Marvelous basketball player. I was going to sneak in, he's a DC Marvel actor, DC being his initials, but that might have thrown people off too much. And then finally, the year of the monkey. Besides humans, what type of primate is the only free living species that is found in Europe, hanging out at the Rock of Gibraltar? And it's a reference to the Berber people of North Africa and the Portuguese term for monkey.
No idea on this one, so we just had to taparoo.
So we took a long train to get here, and we're still not entirely sure. But I'm gonna say, besides the squeaks, Burberry Miko.
What?
Yes, I said it like the French. Miko. There's like an EAU or something on the end there.
Okay.
But I think
Burberry
it's the kind
monkey.
of monkey that like Ross from Friends had.
Ah, right.
Yeah, so the Portuguese term for monkey is the macaca. And the Berber people are from the Barbary coast, so the Barbary macaque, and that is not a reference to anything I've said earlier in this podcast. It's MACAQUE, so I think, that's close enough, right?
No.
I mean,
I don't think so.
They win either way, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's right. They're going to win either way because it looks like Team G-Man Gideon Graves is only picking up 15 points, bringing their total to 160, which is what G-Mandalorian ended the game with. But G-Mandalorian picking up 20 points, just enough to win the game with 180 points, making them today's cream of the crop.
Hey, Jill, are you Carly Simon? Because nobody does it better.
Great game. Wonderful job, Team G-Mandalorian and Jill for carrying Matt there after he was trying to snatch answers away. Let's
Just out of here.
Let's first say thank you to Dave for writing this wonderful game. So many clues and a great roadmap of different things in your life, which is cool because you've done a lot, which is awesome. But any shout outs, anyone you'd like to say hello to before we let you go today?
Yeah, I really got into the whole Discord, the crop. They were awesome. And it's really like a bunch of people that hang out in, Triviality and then all of the lesser quiz podcasts there. So Louis, Johnson, Pete, Bettina, Ian, literally everyone made this quiz like 500 times better than I originally had it. So really appreciate everyone's hard work. Like Johnson, who was just on, him and I had a nice Friday night date, just going through all the questions, and really, really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Other than that, my wife, would probably want to say, hey, support your abortion clinics. Female reproduction access is very paramount to her life and her cause. So, support that, please, in the face of a lot of these political things that we've talked about today. Other than that, I've got baseball cards that I sell. So if you ever need any old school baseball cards or anything new, hit me up. I go by Wild Blue Cards. Other than that, really, really appreciate you guys having me on. Fun to see you guys at SporkleCon. Hopefully we can do some more trivia going into the future, and hopefully I'll be out in Chicago in November. I don't know if you guys foot stomped that or not, but looking forward to it.
Awesome.
Well, yes, thank you so much, Dave, and we'll get back to you if we need a Rod Crew rookie card at some point in the future. And Jill, thank you so much for being here, always representing the city, even though it's a hard job. We know that you do a great job at it. So anything that you'd like to shout out or anyone you want to say hello to before we let you go today, and see you November 12th.
No, I'd love to give a shout out to the great folks I work with at G-Man Tavern. It's rare, I think, in the entertainment business to work with people who are equal parts good at their job, passionate about the work that they do, and just nice to be around in general. So I'm glad that we live in the middle of that Venn diagram. And we're super looking forward to making this kind of Triviality weekend in November happen. It's going to be a lot of fun. I love doing these podcasts, but it's so much fun to do them in real life, in a room full of people. The vibe is always great. So, yay. I'm happy.
Awesome.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, and if you guys plan to go, please buy your tickets ahead of time online. It makes Jill look good, it makes my band look good, makes Triviality look good, and it's good
and
for
you save a couple bucks.
For G-Man, and you save a couple bucks. Once again, November 10th, Rocket Minor playing with Underhand and Coyote Man at G-Man, and November 12th, Triviality live game. And before we go, we want to thank Airwave Media. You can find them at airwavemedia.com. Check out other great podcasts such as Wake Me Up, Investing for Beginners, and the Daily Meditation Podcast. We could all use that, I think.
I think we could.
And without further ado, that will be our episode. We got to let your upstairs neighbors finish the wrestling match, so...
Yeah, that's true.
We got to go. Thank you again to our guests today, for Matt, myself, and Neil. That was Triviality.